Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak on Sunday defended the government's handling of street protests amid intense criticism heightened by the death of a demonstrator. The Dubai meeting over the weekend had no linkage to the formation of a cabinet. Dissented Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra said yesterday, dismissing speculation about the involvement of her brother Thaksin Shinawatra in allocating cabinet seats. European Council President Herman Van Rompuy has called an emergency meeting of top officials dealing with the Eurozone debt crisis spreading to Italy, the region's third largest economy. Update the news around the world with Onrawi Tang Mi Sang and Pasurang Desha Putharangsi in Asean Newsroom. Good morning. You're with me, Pasurang Desha Putharangsi. Today is Monday, 11th of July.
And I'm Onrawi Tang Mi Sang. We're starting with Malaysia's Prime Minister Najib Razak on Sunday defended the government's handling of street protests amid intense criticism heightened by the death of a demonstrator. Riot police fired tear gas and water cannon at thousands of protesters who were demanding electoral reform on Saturday, sparking scenes of mayhem in the capital, Kuala Lumpur, and stringent criticism from human rights watchdogs. Officers also arrested more than 1,600 people, including prominent opposition figures, in the crackdown, although the police said all had been freed by midnight Saturday. Observers said the death of a 59-year-old taxi driver who collapsed while running away from tear gas could further stoke anti-government sentiment. Bahuruddin Ahmad, a former soldier, was fleeing after police fired gas canisters when he collapsed. His brother Muhammad Sharin told AFP he was dead by the time he arrived at the hospital. Bahuruddin, a member of the opposition Pan-Malaysia Islamic Party, was buried Sunday at a Muslim cemetery Sunday with about 300 people attending the funeral. His daughter, who is a doctor, told AFP that we are proud of him. He died in a struggle. Police spokesman Ramleed Mohammed Yusuf confirmed the death but said the man was a bystander who had died of a heart attack. Lim Guan Eng, the chief minister of the opposition-ruled state of Penang, told Bahuruddin's family after the funeral that when he attended the peaceful rally, it was for our future, for peace, for justice, for truth, for democracy, and for a clean and fair election. It's a struggle we have to do together. Let them not steal our children's future, is a cry of the common people. According to the official Bernama news agency, Najib, who spoke at a government function on Sunday, lashed at the opposition-backed protesters, saying they were trying to paint a picture of Malaysia as a repressive state. The PM said they wanted to hold a peaceful rally. If the police had not monitored it, it would not have been peaceful. We dislike chaos, we like peace, we like a country where the people live in harmony.
Malaysian police released 1,697 people detained after thousands of opposition-backed activists defied a government ban to march on Kuala Lumpur's Merdeka Stadium yesterday to demand fair elections. All those held, including 170 women and children, were set free either last night or today, a police spokesman said. Protest leader Ambiga Srinivasan, chairman of the Coalition for Clean and Fair Elections, was among those detained, while opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim suffered a head injury when tear gas was fired. His daughter Nurul Izzat told reporters in Kuala Lumpur yesterday. The showdown came amid rising pressure for political change in parts of Southeast Asia and ahead of general elections due in Malaysia within the next 2 years. Thai voters this month ejected a party that used soldiers to disperse opposition protests in 2010 that led to more than 90 deaths, while Singapore's ruling party won its narrowest election victory since independence in May. Major roads into Malaysia's capital city were sealed with roadblocks and barbed wire. Train stations closed, buses diverted, leaving some parts of Kuala Lumpur deserted. Even so, thousands of people marched in the rain toward Merdeka Stadium, according to Bloomberg reporters at the scene. Another group gathered by the 88th floor Petronas Twin Towers, while a third headed toward a royal palace, though failed to hand in a petition to the king. The protesters tried to give the impression that Malaysia had no political stability. Najib's saying was cited yesterday by the official Bernama News service. Berlish wanted to hold its rally in Merdeka Stadium as it has historical significance, having been elected for the country's declaration of independence from the British in 1957. It had planned a street rally and decided to move its protests inside after King Mizan Zainal Abidin advised July 5th on the potential harm to the country. The Election Commission is looking into extending the campaign period and plans to use biometric fingerprinting instead of indelible ink. Election Commission Chairman Abdul Aziz Mod Yusuf said in a television interview with TV3 and Bernama on July 2nd. International observers may also be invited, he said. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak appealed to all not to make demonstrations as part of Malaysian culture. We are peace-loving citizens who want to live in peace and harmony and want to live in a country that has a bright future, he said when explaining the latest issues, especially the bearish illegal rally to thousands of people, including UMNO divisional heads and Malay non-government organizations, at a special session in Dewan Merdeka at the Putra World Trade Center on Sunday morning. UMNO will faithfully uphold the law. We do not tolerate chaos, Najib said. So many people packed the hall and there was not even standing room left. Many had to listen to him while standing outside the hall. The UMNO president also called on a silent majority, comprising millions of Malaysians, to no longer remain silent, but voice their support for the government. They must stop being the silent majority. There are many ways in which you can voice your opinion, including using the social network. I think it is about the time people stand up and be counted about how they feel about things. However, this does not mean for one moment that government is not committed to democracy and the rule of law, he said. Najib also added that he was asked why he had offered the organizers a stadium for their rally and replied that it was because he respected democratic practices. However, I did not offer the Merdeka Stadium to them. They can do it in a stadium located in opposition-ruled states. The Merdeka Stadium is a national symbol, he said.
Who is Anwar Ibrahim? Let's find out. Anwar Ibrahim was born on August 10 of 1947. He is a Malaysian politician who served as Malaysia's deputy prime minister from 1993 to 1998. Early in his career, Anwar was a close ally of Prime Minister Mahathir bin Mohamad, but subsequently emerged as the most prominent critic of Mahathir's government. In 1999, he was sentenced to 6 years in prison for corruption, and in 2000 to another 9 years for sodomy. In 2004, the federal court reversed the second conviction and he was released. In July 2008, he was arrested over allegations he sodomized one of his male aides and faces new sodomy charges in the Malaysian courts. In November 2006, Anwar announced he planned to run for parliament in 2008 after his disqualification expired. Anwar has been critical of government policies since his release from prisons, most notably of the controversial new economic policy, which provides affirmative action for the Bumiputras. The policy sets a number of quotas, such as for units of housing and initial public offerings, that must be met. He is also the advisor of Party Keadilan Rakyat, the party of which his wife, Dr. Wan Aziza, is president. He was in the forefront in organizing a November 2007 mass rally called the 2007 Bersih Rally, which took place in the Dataran Merdeka, Kuala Lumpur, to demand clean and fair elections. The gatherings was organized by Bersih, a coalition comprising political parties and civil society groups, and drew supporters from all over the country. The 2008 election date, however, was set for March the 8th of 2008, sparking the criticisms that Barisan National called for early elections in a bid to deny Anwar's plans for a return to parliament. In response, Anwar's wife, Wan Aziza Wan Ismail, declared that she would step down and she retained her permanent parliamentary seat to force a by-election in which Anwar himself would contest. When asked about the possibility of Anwar becoming the next prime minister, former leader Tan Dr. Mahathir reacted by saying rather sarcastically he would make a good prime minister of Israel. On April the 14th of 2008, Anwar celebrated his official return to the political stage as his ban from public office expired a decade after he was fired as deputy prime minister. One of the main reasons the opposition ceded a third of parliamentary seats at five states in the worst ever showing for the Barisan National coalition that has ruled for half a century was due to him leading at the helm. A gathering of more than 1,000 supporters greeted Anwar in a rally welcoming his return to politics. Police interrupted Anwar after he had addressed the rally for nearly 2 hours and called for him to stop gathering since there was no legal permission for the rally. On April 29th of 2008, after 10 years of absence, he returned to the parliament, albeit upon invitation as a spouse guest of Wan Aziza Wan Ismail, People's Justice Party, and the first female opposition leader in Malaysian parliament's history.
Tourism sectors in Hat Yai City, Songkhla province deemed the Malay protest would not affect the overall condition, adding that the number of tourists will increase as an escape from Malaysian turmoil. Thai group tours have not yet cancelled their trips, according to the Malaysia's touring company. Somchat Pim Thanapoonporn, Dean of Songkhla Hat Yai Hotel Association, confirmed that the ongoing protest in Malaysia has no effects on the tourism sector by evidence that the vacancy rate is dropping. He further stated that it could be a positive situation for Hat Yai to attract more tourists, since it could be an escape from chaos tourist destination. Simply, the harsh local politics could drive many people away into Hat Yai for a relaxing moment. Right now, the hotel vacancy rate is going down, which is a good news, meaning that the overall tourism sector is still growing. Somchat added that now we have limited vacancy to accommodate tourists. Well, tourists crowd the city every weekend as usual, and some of them opt for a rental apartment during their holidays. Pishit Bunpa Lamlerd, managing director of Sunny Outbound Tour, has also affirmed that no Thai group tours have yet to cancel their trips to Malaysia. We are taking the condition in Malaysia to our close consideration as if anything could change.